In this video, we're going to go over formatting numbers. Right now, when we do the circle area formula that we created in our first video, and we type in 4 as the radius, it's going to give us 50.26544. But say we don't want that many numbers after the decimal point. Say we only want 3. Well, that's where we're going to go into formatting our number. So in the editor, we're going to have to say that that circle area is equal to a formatted number. So we're formatting, so type format and then an open parenthesis, and we're formatting an expression. And our previous expression was that circle area. So our new circle area is going to be the previous circle area formatted. So this is just taking that number, changing how many decimal places or what type of number that we want displayed, and then displaying it in the original cell on the workbook. So after you say what expression you want formatted, you write a comma and then a quotation mark, and now we're going to say the format. Excel already has some named formats such as currency, a general number, a standard, a percent, a scientific number, and so on. So if we were doing currency, we would type in currency, close the quote, close the parenthesis, and now let's look at 4. It's going to give us 50.27, and that's going to be a dollar amount. But we're not dealing in currency, and we said that we wanted 3 decimal places afterwards. So that's going to be a combination of a number, so that's a placeholder, a decimal point, and then we wanted 3 numbers after the decimal. So 3 placeholders, number, number, number. 3 number signs, and then close the quotation. So now when we run this, we're going to get 50.265. So it rounds and cuts off everything after the 0.265. Now let's say we were going to do the radius of 5. Not changing the format, it cuts off this last decimal place. And why is that? That's because that last decimal place is a 0. So if we wanted a placeholder, instead of using the number sign, we would use zeros. So if there was ever a 0 on the end, it wouldn't cut off that 0 like it would if that was a number sign. It just puts a 0 as a placeholder now. So if there were 2 zeros on the end, it wouldn't cut off both of them. It would put 2 placeholder zeros down. And if there were 3 zeros, it wouldn't cut that off and show just a whole number. It would place all 3 zeros. So now when we look at 5, we're going to see that that 0 is added back on at the end as a placeholder 0. So the main difference between the number sign and 0, both are placeholders. However, if you use 0, it's going to print anything that trails and print anything that leads. So let's say 0.000. We know that 1 is small enough to where we're not going to have a number in front of the 3.14, so it adds a 0 for us because we specified that. So if you have a 0 as opposed to a number, the 0 will print the trailing or the leading zeros, whereas the number sign will never print any zeros that finish a number or begin a number. So I suggest doing a couple different numbers using a different formula where you can really manipulate using a placeholder value that adds zeros or a placeholder value that truncates the zeros. Let's say that I wanted a comma to separate the thousands place. So I'd do number, comma, number, number, number. Just as a period represents a decimal placeholder, a comma represents a thousands separator. So when we run this with 5, it's not going to have that comma, in front because the number isn't large enough and we didn't use the 0-digit placeholder. We only use the number sign. But if we write a bigger number, say 22, we're going to get that comma that separates the thousands and the hundreds place. If we wanted to specify that the number was positive, if that was unclear, you just put a plus sign in. So now when we type a number, it's going to have a plus sign, which represents a positive number, in the front. If we wanted that value to be negative, we would put a negative sign. If we wanted it to be a currency, we could type in a dollar sign. If we wanted it to be in parentheses, which is usually in currency showing a positive in an account, we would just type parentheses. And another symbol you can use within a number, if we wanted a space between the decimal point and the numbers following the decimal point, you would just write a space. And the space would appear between the numbers. So this is just a quick introduction to the many possibilities of formatting a number. In some later videos when we get into date and time, I will also show you how to format those types of values.